You really want to start a scrunchie business in 2024? Well, you've come to the perfect spot. Today, I'm going to give you tips and tricks to starting a successful scrunchie business here in 2024. See you in a moment. Hey girl, hey, and hey boy, hey. Welcome back to OMG & Co, also known as OMG Scrunchie Club. For those of you that are new, welcome to the club. My name is Lamiel. I'm the scrunchie creator and jewelry maker here at OMG & Co. And before we get started into today's video, I'd like to let you all know something. Today's my 40th birthday. I know, 40. I haven't accepted it yet, nor have I denied it. I'm just confused as to what I should be doing differently at 40 versus 39. But to all of my friends and everyone else that don't watch my YouTube channel, I'm still going to tell them I'm 29 years old until one of my kids or someone else tells them the truth. So happy birthday to me. And yeah, that's happening right now. But it's been a while. I checked my YouTube channel. The last time I posted a video was August 2023. I must say I've enjoyed the break. I've had a lot of family things to do. My kids are in high school. Two of them are in high school. Have one in 6th grade and one in 4th grade. So it's been a busy year. So I've taken time off. Still working on scrunchie ideas. Actually working on the spring scrunchie lunch that I am launching this year. I have a sneak peek of what I've been working on. Just to give you an idea, I've been doodling on the art pad, coming up with images for the spring collection as well as the summer collection, hopefully to launch both of those this year. I do apologize for not responding to a lot of emails, taking that downtime to live life, I guess I could say, get older. But yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else I missed on talking about. Let's see. I plan on hopefully trying to get at least one video out a month. My ultimate goal was always to do a weekly video, but life happens, stuff happens, and I just have to roll with the punches. So welcome to today's video. Now that my little rant is over, today we're going to talk about starting a scrunchie business. So everything that I'm working on or talking about this year, I've actually started working on last year. So here are my notes. I didn't rewrite them. I actually wrote these last June, starting a scrunchie business. So let's get into it. If I'm looking down, that's because I'm reading the paper. And for some of these items, I hope to have them displayed across the screen for you to see. So starting a scrunchie business can be inexpensive with a chance of high profit margins. In today's video, I'm going to give you some tips, 8 helpful tips, tricks to help you getting started with your scrunchie business. So let's dive right into them. First, I'm going to go over the 8 topics. This is from 2023. If anything has changed from that point when I created this list up until now, I'll be sure to insert that. So the first thing we're going to talk about are important tools. The second thing, purchasing your fabric. That is important. The third thing, sizing your scrunchies. Fourth, time management, which I still struggle with to do today. But hey, life happens. That's going to be my quote this year, life happens. The fifth thing is pricing your scrunchies and making a profit. The sixth thing, taking scrunchie pictures. Seventh, editing your photos. Eighth, finally selling your scrunchies. So let's start with number 1. Okay, that was a little off and rusty. Okay, so important scrunchie tools. First and foremost of all, when making scrunchies, you can make them by hand. The easiest way to actually make them is using a drum roll sewing machine. So when starting out with your scrunchie business, you should invest in a sewing machine. So scrunchies are very easy to make. If you can't afford a digital machine, which has all of the digital buttons where you can select different stitch lengths, stitch widths, all of that great stuff, stitch designs. Hopefully I'll insert some of my machines that I have downstairs, or I'll just Amazon them and show you what I'm talking about. It's not important to have the best sewing machine. You need a working sewing machine, but a basic sewing machine that can do a straight stitch is perfect enough for your scrunchies. Also, thread. It's important to have thread. That's just basic of sewing, unless you plan on gluing your scrunchies, which I've never glued my scrunchies before. I've seen some people glue the scrunchie casing closed, but I always sew my scrunchies closed. I'm not sure how long glue would last. Of course, you need elastic to help the scrunchies stretch. Let's see. If you get thread, of course, you're going to need a bobbin for your sewing machine. No, bobbin. Yes, a bobbin for your sewing machine, which is the thread that sews the bottom of the scrunchie, and then the top thread, the spool that goes on top, it sews at the top. So they interlock with each other, kind of like this. One thread at the bottom, which would be your bobbin thread, and the one at the top, which would be the thread that is on the outside top of your sewing machine. A safety pin or a bodkin would help. This is for feeding the elastic through the scrunchie. I have both the plastic bodkin and some metal bodkins. I first started out with metal bodkins, I believe. Back in the day, I can say that now and not feel too old, but old enough. But back in the day, before we had bodkins, well, before me as in myself personally had bodkins, don't know when they came out, we used to use sewing machines. I remember, not sewing machines, safety pins. I remember when we would have elastic in our pants or something as kids, and my mom was like, hey, get a sewing machine. Not a sewing machine, why do I keep saying sewing machine? She would say, get a safety pin, and you could feed it through whatever you're trying to feed it through. I know with drawstring jackets or sweatpants that used to have the drawstring, if our string came out, we would just feed it through with a safety pin. So you can use a safety pin. I also recommend some good fabric scissors, as well as a yardstick or measuring tape to measure your fabric. I have a cutting mat and I use a rotary knife, so that is a personal preference that I like to use. And I have a quilter's sewing ruler as well. It helps in guiding when I'm cutting my fabric. So this video is going to be short to the point if I stop ranting in between. The next thing, section number 2, purchasing your fabric. So let's say, since we're all starting out, or since you're starting out with your scrunchie business, the last thing I recommend doing is buying the most expensive fabric that you can find. Keep in mind that as you're coming up with your scrunchie idea pertaining to size and measurement, you don't want to buy the most expensive fabric, especially if you have no clue what you're doing. What I would recommend is going to the clearance section or the Salvation Army, Goodwill, someplace where fabric is really cheap. Get the cheapest fabric you would like, and then try different lengths and widths. I want to say when I first started making scrunchies for YouTube, as it pertains to my YouTube channel, I made hundreds of different scrunchies. I made them in different sizes, different fabrics as well. For example, satin fabric versus cotton fabric, it scrunches different. So you may want to see which you prefer. There's stretchy satin, there's non-stretch satin, which the stretchy satin would be charmeuse, which adds a little stretch into it. But then you have the regular polyester satin, which has no stretch into it. Then you have knit fabrics, you have denim fabrics, leather fabrics, all types of fabrics that scrunch differently. So if you can, try to get your fabric as cheap as possible. That way you can know, hey, I want to use this fabric. Now that I know these are my measurements for satin fabrics, I can now go and purchase the more expensive fabric. I will say, depending on the thickness of the fabrics, all of my scrunchies don't measure as far as cutting out on the cutting board. Hint, hint, they're not always cut at the same length because some fabrics are more bulkier than other fabrics. So I take that into account, as well as the weight of the fabric. You don't want anything that's too heavy on your head. Let's see. Okay, next, sizing scrunchies, which I kind of talked about this with the fabric. Okay, so if you want a fuller scrunchie, your length that you cut the scrunchie in, length needs to be long. If you don't want it as full, you can shorten the length. So keep that in mind when making your scrunchies. If you're trying to figure out what size you want your scrunchies to be. Like I stated, I made a lot of scrunchies. I want to say 100, but I'm pretty sure it was probably less than that. But I did make a lot of scrunchies. So, oh, I'm thinking of something right now that I don't have on my list of things to talk about. So I'm writing a note. So sizing your scrunchies, just take that into consideration. Okay, so number 4, time management. Sewing your scrunchies. Yes, I said time management. So now you can make one scrunchie at a time from start to finish, but that will definitely take a long time. So when I say from start to finish, you cut one scrunchie, sew that scrunchie up, elastic this same scrunchie, sew your tag into that scrunchie, and sew that scrunchie up. That's one step. So what I prefer to do for my time management is, since I don't have a lot of time, I will do it in bulk sections. So one day I will cut all of my scrunchies. I'll cut them as wide and as long as I want them to be for my scrunchies, for my XXL, my mini scrunchies. I have micro and petite scrunchies as well. So I'll cut all of those up, and then maybe on the next day, I'll sew the casings. That's the job that I do for that day. Or even if I do all these in the same day, I do them in this order still, but I do them in bulks. After I sew the casings, I go in and do the elastic the same day or the next day. So I feed in the elastic, and then on another day or the next bulk, I sew the scrunchies closed. So this helps me personally to keep me from becoming overwhelmed. Since I am a solopreneur, solo entrepreneur, just for some of those that may be wondering, what the heck is she talking about? So since I am everything in my business, I have to find time to do these things. So sewing them ahead of time allows me to take them wherever I go. For example, we do homeschool here, so we do homeschool co-ops, so we have to go to different things for homeschool. So if I have those casings done, I can and elastic my scrunchies anywhere I go. So that is helpful. So I can kind of be mobile with a portion of my scrunchie business. And once I have that done, I have that bulk done. So sometimes I will cut and sew based off color. So say I'm using black fabric, or whatever I'm sewing can be sewn with black thread. I will take everything that I can sew with black thread. This keeps me from having to change the thread on the machine as well. I will sew everything with black thread, and that could be the first bulk that I'll do. So say I have 5 different scrunchies, 200 casings in all, and they all need black thread. So I'll just sew all 200 of those casings and then go from there. And then I'll go to the next color and so forth, instead of having to switch threads out each time and rethreading the sewing machine. So let me know if you have done it this way, or if you have any suggestions of another way to be more time effective. I know if my kids would sew, that would be a lot more time effective, but none of them have come to me with the interest of wanting to sew anything. My daughters are completely fine with modeling things, but as far as making them, they're not interested. But we are working on a business together, my kids and myself, that hopefully will be launching soon. I'll give you guys an update on what that is in another video. So that was number 4, time management. Keep that in mind. Unless you have no kids and you have or husband, and you have all the time to devote in the world, go for it. If I didn't have all of those things, I would probably spend all day sewing or making something, but that's not the case. Okay, so number 5, pricing and profits. So I like to itemize. For example, I'm just throwing these numbers out here just in case you're trying to figure out my profits. So for example, I know how many scrunchies I can get out of a yard of fabric. I know how much elastic I use per scrunchie, so I know how much one bolt of elastic breaks down per scrunchie. Haven't quite figured it out with the thread yet. I don't know how many yards of thread I use, but I can tell you how many scrunchies I can sew off of a spool of thread. So I guess I can kind of figure it out that way if I just divide it into the amount of meters that the thread is. So it's good to know how much everything in your business costs, down to the marketing materials. So when I say I itemize, I know how much my thank you stickers cost, my cards that I put in, my thank you cards that I put in my packaging. I know how much the plastic wrap costs, the cellophane, and the poly mailer bag cost. Every sticker that goes on my scrunchie packaging, I know how much all of that costs, so I can tell you, oh, this actually cost me this much. This is important so that you can know where to set your prices. So let's just go with, let me pick a good number. So let's just say your fabric is $10 a yard and you make 5 scrunchies out of a yard of fabric. 1 yard is 36 inches. So in order to make 5 scrunchies out of 1 yard, that means, well, maybe I should have gone with 7 scrunchies. You can make 7 scrunchies out of 1 yard of fabric. 7 times 5 is 35. So now, what you would do is get a calculator. Because since I changed that number from 10 to 7, I can't figure out the division on that. I am not a math teacher. That's why my kids go to school for that. Homeschool co-op. Because let's go back to 5. I'm sorry everyone for the confusion, but let's go back to 5 so I don't have to use my calculator. So 1 yard of fabric, and you can make 5 scrunchies out of this $10 yard of fabric, which means right now off the bat, the breakdown cost for your scrunchie material for 1 scrunchie will be $2. That's just for the fabric. And let's say your elastic, let's go with a yard of elastic as well. A yard of elastic cost, just throwing a number out there, 1 yard of elastic costs $1. Okay, so we can get, let's go with 5 again. We can break this elastic down into 5 sections to make 5 scrunchies. So that would be 20 cents. So now, right now, as of now, your scrunchie is costing $2.20. And I would break that down for every item and material that I would need to make this scrunchie. If you want me to do a breakdown video with packaging, shipping, all of that great stuff, leave a comment in the comment section and I will do a mock-up video with that, because I know I've had some people ask me how do they figure out the profits. I always recommend trying to sell your items at minimum 3 times the cost, because the first breakdown of that would be your break-even point, and then you would have 2 times the profit. Not necessarily so. Let's go from there, depending on if you mark it up including your shipping and other materials, or if you're just marking it up based off of the scrunchie materials themselves. So like I stated, if you want me to do a profit breakdown analysis for you, let me know in the comment section. One way you can save money with some of your materials for making the scrunchie is by choosing 2 colors of thread. There are some scrunchie makers that only use black and white thread. Now, I personally like my thread to match my scrunchie fabric on the outside. As far as the inside, I typically use black and white, but for closing the casing, I use whatever the color of the scrunchie casing is. It just makes the scrunchie look more, much more professional, and it gives it a clean look on the outside to keep it uniform. Now, since no one can see the inside, I go with black or white. So I use white thread on the inside of my scrunchies for light colored scrunchies, and if it's dark fabric, I use the black thread, because It just saves me money, and I can buy bigger spools of black and white thread versus the colored thread, which tends to cost a little bit more from where I get it from. So keep that in mind when saving money. At the end of the day, as a business owner, you want to deliver a great product, but you also want to maximize your profits that you could be making for your business. Oh, I put in my notes, do profit margins on, nope. Okay, so that's a note for me not to read out loud. Sorry, guys. So when if anyone wants me to do that profit margin video, I will do it. I'm laughing at myself. Also, another way to save money and to increase your profits is to buy fabric on sale. I know I'm now into making my own fabric for my scrunchies, because I kind of like to have that one-of-a-kind fabric that no one can go buy. But there's a local store here that is local in my state / city that I live in, that if you don't live here or you can't get to this store, you just can't access this fabric unless they have it someplace else. But it's a small business. It's not a Joann's or a Hobby Lobby, but I was going to say, if you do decide to go to Hobby Lobby, make sure you catch those fabrics when they're on sale. And Joann's always has a sale. They always give out like a 50% off coupon. So that's also another way to maximize your profits. Speaking of fabric and customizations in fabric, I'm going to do a video on customizing fabrics as well. I found a new fabric company that I want to do a review on, to let you all know. So I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with sharing some of my suppliers, I guess I could say. The only reason I would share these suppliers is because they only make what I want them to make. So you won't see what I get made just sitting on their website, because it's a custom fabric company. So unless I buy something that they sell, or we buy it at the same time, that would be the only way we would have the exact same fabric. But hey, if you want custom fabric made, I'll let you know that in another video as well. So let's see, I am on number 6. Okay, so now that we have our scrunchies made, guess what we have to do? Take pictures. This here is very time consuming. Making scrunchies, like being the whole business by yourself, is very time consuming, because you have to source the product or the materials, you have to make the item, you have to take the pictures of the item, you have to set the price, do the website, you do everything, my friend, everything. Okay, so taking pictures. There are different ways you can take pictures. Of course, you can take them in your hair. There's the wrist scrunchie photo. Let me get a scrunchie. Okay, so this one is very common. Putting your scrunchie on your wrist, taking a picture of it. Then there's the hair scrunchie photo. Don't want to mess my hair up. The hair scrunchie. Then there's the flat lay, where you have the bird's eye view, where the camera is angled over the item. That's a flat lay. So yeah, just got another note of something to talk about. So there are different ways you can take the picture. So of course, in order to do this, you must have a what? A camera. Yes, you can use your iPhone, Android phone, whatever phone you have, or a camera. I'm using the Sony ZV-1, I think that's what it's called, right now, that I'm recording off of. So I can use that as a photography camera as well. Then I have a Canon 7D camera. So we have a few cameras. My husband's a filmmaker, so we have a few cameras lying around here where we're able to access and take pictures. Now, it is important. Picture quality is important. I remember back in the day in Etsy, they would promote pictures that were bright, clear, and beautiful. They still do that. If your picture is dark and like ugly, that's not good for you or the customer. You want them to be attracted and wowed by the photo that you have, because right now the photo is the only thing that you have selling for you. Even with your videos, you want them to be bright, nice, and beautiful. I know when I first started YouTube, I think it's 2 years ago now, you can see the progression in my videos with the film quality, lighting, and everything. Some days it may look good, some days it may not. Hopefully moving forward, I will be consistent in having a well-lit production for you. So, oh, photo props. Photo props are very nice. I'll insert some of the photos that I've taken with photo props. If you can't take a picture of yourself wearing your product, get a friend or someone you can film, or have them, not film, photograph or film, depending on if you want to do a reel, or have them film you. What I like to do is when I have a collection coming out, I will get my kids and say, hey, we're going to the park, or we'll do it around the house somewhere outside. And I will just take all of my scrunchies and say, hey, put this on, take a picture. And that's how I do those pictures. But 9 times out of 10, those pictures I just use for social media, and they never end up on my website because I like clean pictures. No, they don't. I can't say never end up on my website, but they're not highlighted on my website a lot. They may go across the banner, but as far as the product itself, I normally just do a plain white background, maybe a prop or so there. But I think moving forward, I may have them model. I may have their modeled pictures on the website in addition to the scrunchie alone. So yeah, that is that. So now, sorry, my eyes itching. Sorry. So for my photos, I like to use the light box. I got my light box off Amazon. You can get it out of my Amazon store. They don't have the same one that I got. So this is the next best thing. I'm actually going to buy another one. So I use the light box. Natural lighting is also good for photographing. Try not to photograph when the sun is like blazing hot. I forgot what it's called when you do photography and you wait to the golden hour or something like that. There's this golden hour, this perfect window of when you're supposed to shoot photos. Don't try to shoot your photos or do photography at high noon when the sun is the hottest and the highest. That, my friend, may not work in your favor, because if you're facing the wrong direction towards the sun when you're taking a picture, sometimes people can look like silhouettes instead of people. They just look like shadows that you're photographing. So just keep that in mind. Yeah. So next, let's talk about editing your photos. I personally like to use Canva. Of all things, I like to use Canva. I've never taken the time to fully learn how to use Photoshop, nor did I want to pay for a Photoshop subscription past the amount of time that I needed to learn it for what I was trying to do with it. But Canva is a really good source. You can get a free account. I have a premium account, which is $12, but I use it for a lot of different things. Besides photographing, I use it for my classroom teaching as well. So keep in mind when editing your photos, you want to try to get the color as close as possible of what the customer will receive. Of course, our monitors, everyone's screens may display a different color, but if you can get the color match as close as possible, that would be great. Have you ever purchased something? Just think of yourself or someone that you know. They purchased something with the intent of it looking a certain way, color, based off of the photo that they saw online. They get it home, it's the complete opposite of what they thought. Like that dress, I don't know if any of you remember a few years ago, there was this black and white dress or something like that. Some people saw a blue dress and other people saw black, or I don't remember the color. But yeah, you don't want that to happen where one person sees something and another person sees another thing, but neither one of them see the actual color that it is. So just keep that in mind. A lot of times when I edit my scrunchies, I will have my actual scrunchie in my hand or next to me so that I can kind of color match. Even with my own computers, we use dual, sometimes 3 monitors. One monitor color is set different from the other. For some reason, they're not the same monitor. I'm pretty sure if they were the same exact monitors, we wouldn't have this issue. But one shows brighter than the other. So keep that in mind. Also, you can try, if need be, calibrating your monitors to make sure they match. I always put a little disclaimer. No, I don't. Sometimes I put a little disclaimer. I don't want to use the word always, just in case someone goes and looks this up on my website. Sometimes I'll put a disclaimer that the colors may vary due to the saturation of your monitor or something like that. So that is editing your photos. finally, I put selling your scrunchies. So let's talk about selling your scrunchies. This has several different things that can fall under it. So we have selling your scrunchies, branding, social media, and your website. So social media is very, very, very important. I never thought I would say this. When I was growing up, we didn't have social media. I remember, well, I take that back. We had social media, but it wasn't as visual as it is today. I grew up in the MySpace era, college club, high school club era, where you weren't posting much of anything. It was just like chat threads. So it's a lot. There was no TikTok when I was growing up in high school. What did we have? We didn't have anything, I don't think. YouTube may have been around though. So it is very important, social media, to have a social media schedule. I use an app called Metricool. No, I'm not sponsored with any of these apps that I'm talking about or things that I use today. So I use Metricool. Metricool is pretty cool. They have a free version and it allows you to link all of your social media accounts together, link them together, and you can schedule your posts to go out on different days. And that helped me a lot when I was using it consistently. If I have my content ahead of time, I can kind of push it out and have it scheduled on different days versus, oh no, I have to shoot something today. I have to shoot something tomorrow. I could shoot it over the weekend, which I recommend. If you can batch shoot things, do that. It will save you time. I've done it a few times, but I wasn't consistent in doing that. I like to use my quote of saying I am consistently inconsistent, meaning you can always count on the inconsistency, which is bad. Like I say, life happens. But if you could schedule your social media, that will save you a lot of time. And if you have someone that can follow you around with the camera, there's your content. Or follow your kids or someone. If you have a friend that's willing to wear your items and they love taking pictures, say, hey, I'm going to give you these whenever you go out or have time, or remember, can you take a picture in this and send it to me? They could be your content creator or model, and that would save you time from having to do certain things. Or you can get brand ambassadors. I've done brand ambassadors for my hairbro business that I retired from last year. I reached out to several different YouTubers and I said, hey, I'm giving you this for free. Would you market it for me? So I will say this, the YouTubers that have millions or possibly several thousands of subscribers are likely going to charge you. So what you want to do is find someone that aligns with what your brand is. They may not have a bunch of followers, but they have followers like a micro influencer, and say, hey, I want to give you some of my products. Can you talk about them? And just keep going that way, keep going and growing. And before you know it, bam, you'll have lots of followers and customers, hopefully. So social media, this will help you sell your scrunchies. Also, you need a website. I personally judge websites. In my head, when I first land on anyone's website page, my first question is, does this website look professional or not? There are some websites that I'm like, look sketchy. Though your product is great, beautiful, expensive, well made, if I feel like your website looks like, oh, this is sketchy, I know it sounds bad, I would not buy from that website. It's easy to get a website made. I will say I use Shopify. Shopify has gone up since back in the day. Right now, I want to say I paid $30 for my website. But there are other options. For example, Big Cartel, BIGCARTL.com. Not a sponsorship of this video, not sponsored by Big Cartel. But they do have different level tiers of websites. The only reason I didn't go with them, I may go with them for the business I'm starting with my kids. The only reason I didn't go with Big Cartel is because there are some tools that I need as far as my scrunchie business for promotion that are linked in with Shopify. But Big Cartel is great to start out with. I know some people use Wix. Wix is probably like $5 cheaper than Shopify. But I like Shopify also because it's easy. You just go pick a template, edit the template, pick the color, drop your items into categories, products, and it's like that. Big Cartel is really easy as well. What I didn't like about Wix is I didn't like the format interface and some of the plugins that I would need to make my website work, they didn't have. So having a nice website, don't try to spend a ton of money on a website. Like I stated, Big Cartel, I want to say their first tier of the website is free. You get 5 products. Then the next one is like $9.99 for 50 products. Then after that is $19.99 for 500 products. So it's a tier base, whereas Shopify is just a flat $29.99 for that. And then they have different plugins that you can add in as well. Shopify also allows you to link to your social media channels as well. So we talked about website, social media. Now, another thing that some of you may be interested in is market sales, craft shows. I'm trying to think. Some of you call it markets, craft shows, craft fairs, craft festivals. This is a way to test your products face-to-face in person. So if you do decide to go this route, think of your booth that you're going to set up. You want it to be inviting, welcoming. And since you're selling scrunchies, since this is a scrunchie video, I'm going to give you a trick that I would use. Not necessarily a trick, but a tip that could work for you. When I was selling hair bows, I haven't done scrunchies at a craft show in a long time. I would mix it in with my hair bows. My first business was hair bows. And I was making scrunchies, but that wasn't the forefront. It was called the hair bow box. And it turned into, well, it was Love My Hair Bows. Then it turned into a subscription business called the hair bow box. But when I did it in person, I would always run a promotion. I'll do a video on craft show tips if anyone wants that. Leave a comment in the comment section and I will be happy to do a craft show / market show tips for you. But I would try to lure parents with kids. Of course, they're hair bows, little girls. So I would put maybe some sparkly things towards the front, something that would catch your eye. I would give away something, maybe some candy. Kids like candy. Give away a hair bow, not an expensive hair bow, but something that was pretty, something that would get moms or dads. I had dads come in and buy bows too, to buy these items for me. So that is something. Remember, people shop with their eyes first, whether they see a price or see something sparkly and pretty. They're shopping with their eyes, just as people eat with their eyes first. If something looks appealing, then their mind is triggered to think, oh, this could be good or should be good, versus if it looks disgusting, you don't even want to try it. So same thing with hard items that you don't eat, hard items that you can feel, soft items in general. So yeah, let's see. So yeah, for selling in person, make sure you display your signage. Also, run a sale. When you're selling in person, run a sale. For example, say I sell my XXL scrunchies for $16. If I were to sell them in person, I would likely sell the XXL scrunchies from maybe $16. I would sell it between $13 to $15. The reason being is that I want this customer to come in here and know that because you're here in person with me, I'm going to give you a discount for shopping with me. And never forget your marketing materials when you're selling in person. Slip a coupon in there. I like to slip coupons in all of my packaging. When I send my scrunchies out, I will slip a coupon to the customer. And guess what happens? When they get that coupon, they come back. And if you have a rewards program where you can give them points for shopping with you, that's another way. What you want to do is to keep sending your customer back. You have to give them, you don't have to, but it's nice to give them an incentive to come back. So just keep that in mind. And if there are any other videos that you would like for me to highlight on or talk about anytime, because I think I like talking more than just sitting making scrunchies. You can watch other people make scrunchies. Not to say that you don't want to watch me make scrunchies, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like a repetition, the monotony of seeing this done over and over and over and over and over again. Unless I'm reinventing the way the scrunchie is made, I don't think you want to see me make another scrunchie. But if you do, let me know. Maybe I'll do some scrunchie making shorts. But as far as making a video of me showing you how to make a scrunchie from start to finish, Not sure if I'm going to do that again. But stay subscribed, and hopefully I plan on getting more videos out. I do have some merchandise. Guys, now that part's over, let me just tell you this. I have had merchandise made since 2022 and I have just not had the mood or the motivation to take pictures of them. I have knitted headbands, knitted beanies. I have t-shirts that I've made. Let's see what else. I've been working on a few scrunchie lines for the past 2 years that I haven't launched yet. Like when I tell you I've been working, it's just the drive to get it out. It just takes so much out of me, which I am trying my best to get it done this year. This is going to be my year. It's 40 and no more excuses. Ugh. I feel like I have to be an adult now. Ask my kids what they think of that. But here's a sneak peek of something on my sketch pad. Well, my husband's sketch pad. He doesn't watch my YouTube channels, so he doesn't know that I'm using his drawing tablet right now. But here's something I'm working on, which hint hint is going to be a part of the spring line. I'm really excited for this spring line of custom fabrics and apparel that will be accompanying it and some other items. So I know I said this video was going to be short, but I don't think it is. I think I'm going to go downstairs now and celebrate my birthday. So I will see you all in the next video, hopefully sooner than later. I know what I wanted to tell you. For the remainder of this month, this is what I really came to tell you about. For the remainder of this month, since it is my 40th birthday, the entire OMG and Co Scrunchies section only will be 40% off. And every once in a while throughout this month, I will make the earrings 40% off as well. But those won't be 40% off for the entire month. You just have to catch it when you catch it, I guess. Or I can send out a newsletter. Hey, earrings are going to be 40% off this day or whatever. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, great night, great evening, morning, whatever time of day it is where you are. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye-bye.